So I want to take a step back today and talk about the 5 kind of core principles of selling. These are things that I want to make sure we're all very clear on, because I don't know if I was ever taught these things, and I want to make sure that I'm being very clear and helping educate people with these 5 things. Selling is one of those things, and sales is one of those things that really, it's a learned technique, right? It's a learned behavior, but it doesn't have to be. There's a ton of data out there now that just wasn't there when people first started selling, right? We know the things that sell better than others now. We know the things that have better close rates. We know all this stuff. So I wanted to talk about the 5 core or basic principles of selling based on a data type perspective. First thing I want to talk about, or first principle, is that we need to follow the data. We need to follow the data, not our gut instinct on how to best sell, and not other people's gut instincts on what works best either. What I mean by this is, when you get started in a sales business or sales industry, you might get paired up with someone who's a traditional relationship-based salesperson, and it may have worked for them really well. But the data shows that relationship type sales is not the most successful type of sales. All right, it's not the highest closing rate sales. Right? Data shows that there's a better way. And what I want to do is show you those things. So that number 1 is to follow the data. Don't follow your gut, follow the data. Right? The second core principle is to show insight up front. What I mean by this is we don't want to educate from A to Z up front. What we want to do is we want to show insight to a business, to an industry, to a problem, that an industry type solution. Right? We want to show what we can do to overcome typical issues in an industry that we understand. We want to be very careful about educating, because if we educate too much, we lose the prospect. Right? If I tell you the secret to life and the secret to become rich right now, I'll never see you again, because you already have the secret. What I want to do is tell you that I understand the struggles of selling more, being more successful, closing more sales, getting more prospects, and I want to show you that I understand that these are the things that you're trying to overcome. Because what that's going to do is that's going to pique interest in me as a salesperson, that I can show you how to overcome your problems, overcome your issues, and be more successful, right? For that example, for you talking to your clients, let's say you're in a transportation business or transportation industry. Instead of just educating the client on all the things you can do and all the things you will do to make their transportation more fluid, more constant, more on time, more consistent, what you can do is talk to them and tell them that you understand that getting from A to B consistently in 3 days, or consistently in however long, with no failed attempts, no delays, no holdups, all that kind of stuff, is going to be much more beneficial or influential when talking to the client. So, show insight up front. Number 3 is drop the persuasion. And what I mean by drop the persuasion is that old school sales was all about persuading people into making a decision to work with you. That doesn't work. It just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work now. People are used to this shit. They don't want to hear from someone who says, hey, you got to come work with me because I'll fix this problem for you, and I'm not going to tell you how until then, blah, blah, blah. Right? What people want to do is they want to know if you're a good fit for their issue. All right? They want to know that you can show interest or show insight into their problems. They want to know how you might overcome their problems. They want to know that you are an expert in your field, right? So don't try to just persuade, but what you want to do is really understand the client, understand their issues, understand what they need to be successful, and show them insight into those 8 items, right? So drop the persuasion, number 3. Number 4 is you want to get away from the benefits and features kind of pitch of a product, right? So this is, again, a very old, very antiquated approach. This is basically the type of approach that assumes that your client doesn't know anything about you or your product or really how to overcome their own issues. By saying there's a benefit and a feature, it's basically like saying your client's dumb, right? It's basically like saying your client doesn't know anything, and this is, I got to show you the benefits, right? So a car, the benefits from getting A to B. Most people know that, right? Most clients looking for a solution to an issue they have, they know what they're looking for from a benefit. So drop the benefits and solution type of pitch. What your presentation should focus on is how you, your company, and your solution, your product are able to overcome an issue, right? So again, I know I'm kind of beating it all up, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to become the hammer to put in the nail, right? We're not trying to become anything else and persuade and tell benefits and features. We're trying to become the solution to a problem. So number 4 is kind of drop the benefits and features type of pitch, right? Make sure you're pitching on solution to their distinct problem and how your company helps overcome that, and that you're a good fit for their issues, right? For overcoming their issues. And number 5 is understanding that next step kind of confirmation is really the key to success. And what I mean by this is when I'm talking to a client, I will never say, let's follow up next week, right? I'll never say, so let's say we're having a conversation and say, yeah, this is a really good fit. This is really going to work really well. Follow up with me next week and we can figure out the contract details. It sounds great, right? It sounds great. But what happens a lot of the times is that client walks away and you don't hear from client for a week. Okay. You start getting that little feeling that you might have been ghosted. You might not hear from the client. And then on the second week, you try to call them and no answer. And you call them again and no answer. And you leave a couple messages and then you just never hear from them again. And what's happened is that you've had a client that's there, but they're not committed, right? They don't have a concrete time to talk to you again. They don't have that concrete kind of skin in the game. So they are capable of backing out and leaving you on the hook. So a lot of the times, a way to overcome this is either, and this is option 1, if you can get it, is close the sale on the spot. If someone says, this is a great fit, I think this is going to be amazing, right? Let's talk next week to sign the contract or finalize the contract. As a salesperson, you should have everything you need with you on the spot, right? What you should be able to do is to actually execute on that contract on the spot, or alternatively, and this is option number 2, this is almost as good, but not quite as good as signing right then and there, is to confirm a time, a date, and a place to meet, right? So whether it's, instead of saying, let's talk next week, it's saying, let's talk Monday at 9 a.m., right? Or let's meet Monday at 9 a.m. at the Starbucks on the corner. Set a dedicated time and place, and what that is going to do is help you firm up and get more follow through with those potential clients that might ghost on you, right? So that's number 5. And really, these are 5 things that I wanted to kind of get out there as basic, very core type items that I think I've followed, or I think I've talked about a little bit in other videos, but I want to talk about a little bit more. So anyways, guys, stick around. I'm going to be doing a video every single day like I always have. Hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I hope you learned something. Thanks, guys.